the first grade and welcome to the Chinese immersion program. So, so I am Li 老师 and this is sorry, this is Stoker. Okay, so we would like to introduce ourselves first. So I'm from Taiwan. I taught ESL to elementary school students for 7 years in Taiwan. I taught NTC for a year, and I taught Chinese at BYU as an adjunct instructor for 4 years. So that's was my experience. And
I do not
introduce yourself.
Well, I grew up in Montague, and if you know where that is, I'm super happy because it's really small. I started my schools as a paraprofessional. I worked in Colorado and then in Jefferson County. This will be about my 6th year. And I have 2 kids in the Chinese program already. And it's not my first year, it's my 2nd year teaching. I made it in the first year.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I can keep being a first year teacher. And I graduated in my bachelor's in education.
So, the reason why we want to have this orientation, we want to gather you up here, is because we want to, sorry. So we want to help you to better understand that actually Chinese immersion program is an accelerated program. This is more difficult. This is an advanced program. It is harder, okay? And here's other reasons why. So the average class size of the English, the regular English class is 19. This year I have 28. Mrs. Stoker has 28. So that means that we have 56 students to teach. So like triple, right? And the second reason why it is an accelerated program is because for them, they teach English and math. And they use the rest of the day to review and to drill. But for us, we have English, Chinese, and math to cover. For half of the day, when they teach math, I have to teach math and Chinese. And make it harder, I teach math in Chinese. Okay, so it is really hard. The third reason why this is an accelerated program, it is because the textbooks, they use math expressions, and we use Immersion 2.0. Let me give you example, okay? So at the beginning of October, the 5th week, they're teaching 6 plus 3. They need to find the kids on the regular English class. They need to find the greater number and then keep counting 7, 8, 9, so they can know 9. But at the same time, we are teaching double. Double plus 1, double plus 2, and double minus 1. So what does that mean? That means that the students have to understand the concept of doubles. They have to memorize them in Chinese, and they have to have the ability to analyze a set of numbers. For example, like this one, they have to know, well, actually 8, I can decompose them to 7 plus 1. So that means this is a double, 1 more. Or they need to have another ability that this is 8, and then 7 is 1 less than 8, so it is 16. Take away 1 is 15. So you can tell that because of the different textbooks, our math is much harder. But even though it is harder, but once they finish the program, their Chinese their math will be really solid, will be really good. The last reason, and it is the biggest reason why the Chinese immersion program is accelerated program, and it is because Chinese is a very difficult language, really hard. And I've already asked Professor McKay from BYU to address on this point. So he's going to tell you why. Huh?
So my wife asked me to come explain this. I teach Chinese up on campus at BYU, Idaho. Sometimes it's easier to explain a language if you're not a native speaker, because otherwise it's just like, that's how we talk, right? So one of the reasons why Chinese is so challenging is because the federal government has a council called the American Council for Teaching of Foreign Languages, and they went through and they rated every language in the world in terms of difficulty for Americans to learn, right? And then there's 4 different categories. The easiest category, let's go to the next one. the easiest category, we have Spanish, and we have the Romance languages, French, and whatever. Category 4 languages include Chinese. So what does this mean? Because Rigby has immersion in Chinese and in Spanish, right? So if you spend 500 hours in Spanish, you'll achieve a certain level of proficiency, a decent level. To get to that same level of proficiency in Chinese, you need to spend 2,200 hours. So it's more than 4 times the effort to get to the exact same level of proficiency. And the reason for that is it's just completely foreign. Unfortunately, we can't just like Spanish add an O on the end of words and correct becomes correcto, and then we're good to go. So it's not that easy, right? Next one. Also, Chinese is a tonal language. If you don't know that yet, you know it now. It's a tonal language, which means that the same sound with different intonation has different meaning. One common mistake that learners make in the very beginning, do you know the dumplings, or Japanese call them gyoza? You know the little Chinese dumplings that you can eat with chopsticks? In Chinese, those are called shui jiao. But to sleep is shui jiao. So I want dumplings or I want to sleep. Well, it depends on if you say the tones correctly. You either get an order of dumplings or they'll show you to your room. Next one. Can you go to the next one? Yeah, and also this goes without saying, but the writing system is super hard. You can't sound anything out. So these characters up here are just the numbers 1 through 10. But if you don't know the character, there's no way to know how to read it. You just have to memorize it. So there's no hooked on phonics, there's none of that you can like sound it out or mash them together or whatever. Every single Chinese character is a sight word. So if you see it, you know how to say it instantly. So this just adds to the challenge now. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So a lot of us think that learning a language, is our language good or not good, depends on how well we can speak it, right? That's kind of the standard of, hey, can you speak it, can you say something, then you have an ability in that language. But really, there's 4 main domains, listening and speaking, and then we also have reading and writing. And the way to get over here so your child can speak a lot, there's a secret to doing that, and that is the more passive input you get, the more active output you're going to get. Unfortunately though, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. So over here, if we have like 100 units of input, like the teacher says to them, ni hao, ni hao, after about 100 times or whatever, then they're gonna start to get maybe 5 to 10 output. They're gonna start to feel a little more comfortable and then say it once in a while. So the more listening input they can get will mean the more speaking that will result in speaking, okay? So one of the things that Li Lao Shi is doing for homework is having them watch some videos from the textbook, from counting videos or color videos or whatever. The more they can do that here, the more you're going to see the results over here when you see somebody who speaks Chinese and they walk up confidently and say, oh, ni hao, 我是什么什么, and then they introduce themselves. It comes through the listening. Let's go to the next slide. So, unfortunately, the summer's ending. I really love summer. Not much on the other seasons, but just as an analogy here, water to plant growth is not a 1-to-1 ratio, right? And so it's a whole lot of water to a little bit of plant growth. It's the same analogy that way. So a lot of listening, and you're going to get more output. Let's go to the next slide. And then just the key concept to understanding is Chinese. We teach it at the schools, but it's not a concept based like math, like 2 + 2 = 4. If you understand that concept, then you're good to go. This is a skill. So it's much more like playing the piano or playing a sport where you really need that physical engagement and you need to practice, and then you're going to get the muscle memory that comes with it. So if you can encourage your child to practice more at home, or if they have an opportunity to speak it, the more they engage with it, the better they're going to get. Right? So if you have your child learning piano, it's not like, hey, go to the teacher, and then once you're done with lessons, you're done for the week, and we'll send you back to the teacher the next week. Language acquisition is just like that. They're going to go nowhere in the piano, and they're not going to go very far in Chinese. Okay? Any questions for just the Chinese language or anything like that? If not, we'll give the time back to Li Lao Shi.
So right now, I would like to talk about some myths that some of the parents of the immersion program might have. The first one is little kids can pick up Chinese easily. Who has this kind of belief that, yeah, I think kids pick up Chinese easily? No? You guys are good? Okay. So, okay, so, because my experience is that it takes about 3,000 to 5,000 orientation for first graders to learn to remember, to memorize Chinese words and develop a sense of language. What do I mean by that? For example, like if a junior high student wants to learn Chinese, the teacher will teach him 大小高矮, big, small, tall, and short. The teacher can teach him very, and the junior high school student have the ability to, oh, I know 很大 means very big, and how about, then probably they have the ability to do this. But because the language, the left hand, and left brain function, and the kids at this age, first graders, they don't have they haven't developed the strong logic and analytic ability. So for them, when they learn this, next one. When they learn this, they say, oh, this is a new word, this is a new word, and this is a new word. This is a new word, this is a new word, and this is a new word. This is another new word, this is another new word. Even though they have repeated patterns. But for them, it is until they repeat 3,000 to 5,000 times, then they have the ability to connect. This, the next one, okay? Yes. And the second myth is that students in the immersion program will naturally speak Chinese to another students. That's not the case. We really hope they can practice so that we can, our job will be easier. But English is natural for them. Chinese can be natural for them if they practice at home. So that way they know I speak Chinese at home and at school, rather than I learn Chinese in class. Okay, so that will be a difference. I think Mrs. Stoker has a really fun experience about this. Maybe we can ask her to share.
Like I said, I have an 8th grader that she's been in the immersion program since she's been in kindergarten. I also have a 3rd grader that's been in kindergarten. And I love to have the experience with her, to have her express and to talk to other people. So we were in a hotel in St. George, and I was like, Allie, I want you to speak Mandarin to them. And she kind of got embarrassed, and she's like, I don't know if I can. And so I paid her $5, and she went up to us and started speaking. And it was such an amazing thing that, and they were amazed that this blonde-haired girl was speaking Mandarin to them and understanding them. And they were like, where is she learning that? In Idaho. And I said, oh, it's at our school. And, you know, it is hard, and you have to practice, but eventually it will happen. Like, it will come in and she'll understand it. Yeah.
Her daughter is a really good student, and I think it's because she practiced right. Okay, so the third myth is that I can't help my child with Chinese if I don't speak it. Do you have that kind of feeling? No, you guys are so good. Okay, but the nice thing is that in my class, you don't have to help your child with any spoken or written homework. I've made practicing at home really easy for parents. So these are the 4 resources I'm going to use throughout the whole year. This is for the first month, and this is for the rest of the year, but interchangeably. And this is the last one. Let me explain it in detail. So the first month, we're going to learn numbers, colors, animals, fruits, and shapes. These are the foundations for further studies for the rest of the school year, and even for the rest of the Chinese program. Okay, so I'm going to send you the links. I will send you the links when we get there. Okay, but 10 minutes every day. 10 minutes every day. At least, let me say, at least 10 minutes every day. Okay, so this will be funny. I'm going to send those YouTube videos to you. Okay? So the second resource is I'm going to let me show you the textbooks. So these are the textbooks we're going to be using for the rest of the year. There are 10 units, and each unit have 3 books. So in total, we have 30 books for the whole school year. And when we finish this, yes. So this is the thing they can practice at home. So for example, they can click here. So when your kids go home, they click this and they listen and they repeat after that. And then they can click this one so they can know the English translation. Okay, so this one they do 10 minutes a day. But this is starting from the 6th month. Or, no, the
Look at that dragon up there.
So I've already made videos for the textbooks because I realized that everybody's so busy, so not a lot of you are at home practicing learning languages. So I have the videos ready. So if you're traveling or if you have to take your kids to the basketball practice or swimming lessons, and you can just watch the YouTube videos. Let me show you an example. So this one.
游乐园，这里真好玩。小马在哪里？
So the kids can still listen to this and then repeat this. Listen to this and repeat this. So the most important thing is for them to listen and then repeat. Listen and repeat. Okay? And a lot of kids, they like to listen to the videos because it's easy. It's fun for them to listen to different voices. I will send this PowerPoints to you later, okay, after this. And so as this one, let me show you. So every time your kids listen, they're going to have this, and you're going to write down how many minutes they listen. And then they're going to bring this to me. I'm going to put them on the Power School. And when they bring it back, they can get suckers, thumbs up for this effort. So they really like to do this. Okay? And this girl, she listens a lot, so that means she's really good. So that's an example here to show you. 55, wow, 60. I'm so happy to see this. Good kid. Good parents too. Sorry. Okay, so the last one is Chinese characters flashcards. So this year I'm going to have your child make the flashcards and they're going to bring them home. And you're going to find, the way to help them is to find a wall and then put them on the wall. Okay, so every day, only once a day, just randomly test if they know the words. It is okay if they don't know the words for the first week. I probably will send those flashcards home like once 3 weeks or once a month. But the purpose for this is not to test them, it's to let you have a feel that how good the kids are doing in the program. If by the 3rd week, if they still don't know, that means they need extra help. Okay, just let you have a feel. Okay? And that's it. So once a day, so parents can help most by helping and use these resources at home. Okay? So our challenge this year, we have shorter Fridays, and this year it is even shorter. So we're at less instruction time. And there is a lot to cover. As you can tell, I have pictures at the wall that have to masters at the end of the year. I have a lot of Chinese characters on the wall. So they all need to know this. And this whole is a part of my flashcards. Okay? And they need to finish all 10 units of this textbook. And at the end of the school year, the new kids need to take the test on 4-digit Chinese characters because we're going to stop because the school district required it. So this is for the school district. And the last the last one is that every student needs to know how to do self-introduction, 1 minute self-introduction in Chinese. And I'm going to record them as a whole class and then send them to you. Okay, at the end, so you can say, oh, shut up and speak Chinese. My kids, they really love to do this because this is really fun for them. Okay? And I want to emphasize on this Mandarin matrix. I really want to because it is really critical for us to finish 10 units. Let me tell you the reason why. Can I have, sorry, I didn't have a marker. Let me get a marker. Thank you. So let me tell you the reason why. Because, for example, this is the curriculum for the first grade. This is the for second grade. The same curriculum, 10 units for each grade. Let's just assume that they don't practice at home, so I need to spend a lot of in-class time, help them to review, so I can only manage to finish 7 units the first year. So when your kids go to the second grade, the teacher has 2 choices. The first choice, he can finish this for me, then he can only finish right here, right? Or he can choose, let's skip this, and then let's teach the second grade curriculum. But the problem is they lack the foundation of this part. So the most, probably the second unit teacher, they can only finish 7 units. What does that mean? That means that when your kids go to the second grade, you will be 6 units behind. 6 units behind. So if the third grade can only finish 6 units, so by the 4th grade, that means they're a year behind the whole curriculum. So that means who is going to suffer when your kids goes here? Your child, right? Because there will be no difficult for them. Okay, the same thing, the same principle applies that if your child only get 50% ready for the second grade, that means when they go to the second grade, probably they're going to get 40% ready for the third grade because it is getting harder. If they only get 40% ready for the third grade, that means they only can get 30% ready for the 4th grade. So that means when they go to the 4th grade, their Chinese is going to be really bad. They won't like Chinese program because not enough practice to help them to get there. Okay? So I hope that makes sense to you guys. Okay? And I have a mandatory recess health policy. So this is only in my class, not in Mrs. Stoker's class. Some kids, they need extra help, right? So my TA will help those kids who need extra help during the instruction time. But sometimes the kids, if they need extra help, the only time I can personally help them for a longer period of time is during recess. I'm happy to help them during recess because that's the only time and that's the best time for me to build relationship with your kids. But normally they're much less happy about it. They cry because they'll miss the recess time to play with their friends. Okay, but a lot of times the needs arises because they're not practicing at home, and which result in not being able to pay attention in class. Okay, so I hope that after all this, you can understand that language learning and Chinese immersion are going to be like for your child, for the first grader. And I hope that you can understand that it is a collaborative effort. Because in order to help your kids to be successful, I think you send your kids here, but do they know how to be successful? Chances are not, right? So they need your help to be successful. And Chinese practice is essential because it is the key to success in the Chinese immersion program. Not only for the first grades, but for the rest of the Chinese immersion program. Thanks, Bill. Do you have anything?
So I know some of you guys are new to the Chinese immersion program, and a lot of you guys had a little bit of questions of how it works with my classroom. So my job is I teach the reading part, and they're with me half of the day, and then they come to Mrs. Lee and they get taught Chinese and math. I support her in math. I help her with the math that they're learning in Chinese. I do it in English. I don't have a lot of time to do it, especially now we're doing 2 new curriculums in reading, so it's going to be a little slow going. So, like Miss Lee said, I'm a parent of 2 kids that have done the Chinese program, and as some of you guys also have Chinese kids, it does take practice. Are they going to complain? Yes. But if anything worth it is going to be hard, and it will eventually get easier. You just gotta stick through it. And so, if you ever have any questions, you know, we're open door. You can come and talk to us. If you ever have any concerns or how you can help your child. I don't speak any Mandarin. I think I can count to 5. And so, you know, my kids are able to do it. Mandarin makes it so much fun. It's so easy. Just log it in, save their password. All I have to do is put it on for them. They can do it on their Kindle, they can do it on their iPad, you can do it on your phone. And they love to hear the microphone, and it repeats back to them so they can hear themselves doing it and speaking it, and it's really cool and it's entertaining for them. And if you also make it a habit, just like I teach reading, you guys see the value of they have to learn to read. You practice with them at home. And first grade is such a hard grade because you are learning so much so fast that they're going to need your help, especially in this program where they're going to learn pretty much what they're going to learn in second grade. Second grade goes a little bit more in depth, but it's more of a review. First grade is like hits it hard, so they're going to need your help. And then Mandarin, it's going to be different than it was in kindergarten. Kindergarten, you're like, oh, my kid's going to learn Mandarin, they're going to go to school, and I don't need to do anything to help them. They're so, you know. First grade, she has standards that she has to go through the district, so she needs your help so that she can show that this program is helping them in learning. And so I hope you guys, 4 minutes after our time, so we're going to let you guys go. If you guys did not finish your stuff in my room, go ahead and do that. Also, I sent